back from winter break, my husband received a phone call that my daughter had to quarantine again because of COVID. Another vaccinated friend testing positive for COVID. After telling the nurse and the principal she just had COVID 2.5 weeks ago and has remained home for another 2 days, totaling now 7 days. Again, it was another waste of time for my daughter. She did not come down with COVID. In all actuality, it put
Those students with the best staff to educate, transport, and feed. We must ensure a competitive salary, and I thank you all for that. Thank you.
Or you would let them remove their masks. Thank you.
But we did the next. Steps are important because they create a pathway to retirement, and cost of living increases are important because they provide a livable wage for our educators. Our schools are amazing because of our staff that we employ. During a national...
Any of them? Okay, Jeremy Pinson?
There's 176 people outside.
Mr. Pinson? Or Mr. Pratt? No? And your name is, sir? Student Lawrence. Oh, yes, Mr. Lawrence, please.
Pay attention.
It's the second largest county in the population. But as an embarrassment, of course, there's many companies that will pay in America. The school budget is representative. This is basically Western Hamilton County, populated by less than 10% of the people. Again, half of the live.
They're not tracking.
No, they need one of those clickers like I have in my church. They go like a second, okay?
Which one left? Does she have a gray shirt on? All right, do me a favor. Say and spell your name first and last for me, please.
Sure, Janine Lawson. You said first name?
First and last, and spell it out.
Yeah, Janine Lawson, Jeanine Lawson.
And you are a Prince William County Supervisor at Brentsville District.
Amen. Yes, I am.
You sent a letter to the Prince William County School Board requesting, and I'll let you decide if that's the right word, that they, I guess, roll back or provide a parent's choice when it comes for masking. Is that correct?
No.
Describe the letter that you sent.
Okay. I sent a letter yesterday, February 1st, to the superintendent of the schools and to the school board requesting that they no longer require teachers and staff, county staff, Prince William County School Division staff, to be vaccinated, and if they're not vaccinated, to be tested weekly. That's what my letter was about, not about the mask, the student mask. It was strictly related to the vaccination mandate.
Where do you stand on the mask? Because we've seen so many pictures of so many elected officials at public events.
Yeah.
Even here in Manassas City, we saw the mayor out without a mask on, but yet at meetings like this, you always, and kids have to sit 7-8 hours a day. So where do you stand on that?
Yeah, it's time to unmask children in schools. I mean, look, this is harming the kids far more than any minor benefit, which actually isn't even conclusive. There's a lot of debate out there of just how effective the masks are. These kids are going to be affected by these years in the mask, especially I think the little kids, but I absolutely support the parents, and it's time to unmask our students.
This is a very large building. Some 200 people work here. And there's a very large meeting room, much larger than anything that you have at the county for your board.
Right.
And yet there are arbitrary capacity limits that we've seen been put in place here tonight and at other meetings, is this a good way for a public body in Prince William County to conduct business?
No, actually, I think
So is this a good way for a public body in Prince William County to conduct business?
I would actually say it's arbitrary and capricious. It certainly appears that the school board has decided that they want to cripple parent participation. You know, one of the rights in our First Amendment is the right to petition your government, and this appears to be a willful attempt to restrict the petitioning of their elected officials. It's on display here, and it's pretty obvious. They even aren't letting people waiting outside in the cold come in, and they're claiming it's because we're, quote, at capacity. As you said, this is a very large building. They can allow more than 100 people in this building without a doubt. They're being very capricious about it.
I'm going to work to get you framed up here. Okay, do me a favor. Say your name first and last and spell it out for me, please.
Mandy, M-A-N-D-Y, Ballard, B-A-L-L-A-R-D.
And what town do you live in?
Gainesville, Virginia.
You have children in the school division.
Yes, I have
3. You have 3 kids in the school division. What are their ages?
I have a 10-year-old, I'm a 8-year-old, and a 6-year-old.
And so, are they middle school, elementary school age?
4th grade, 3rd grade, and 1st grade.
You have an interesting story about how your kids went back to school in August. So walk me through from August into what happened to you this week.
So August, I submitted an exemption to the district stating that my children would not be practicing in medical masking or any COVID-19 invasive requirements. On August 26th, they approved my exemption, and my children went to school. They rode the bus. Everything was normal. Teachers and the staff at my children's school worked really well. There was no problems at all. Everything was actually really great. And then on Monday, my principal had called me and told me that pretty much my exemption was now void. And that my children were no longer allowed to attend school unless they wore a mask or did mitigation strategies, which goes against my exemption that they approved in August. And I said, absolutely not. Like, this was approved, and this is what is, everything has been fine. What has changed? And pretty much, I think what happened was they're hounding down on him to make changes. And so I actually don't even know what happened. And so I said, no, this is not happening.
What has been the effect on your children now that they've been told they can no longer attend school, the school that they've been going to since late summer?
My 3rd grader actually cried because he wears glasses, and he was like, how am I supposed to sit behind plexiglass, Mom? And actually, since he's been attending in-person instruction, his grade level has went up, I think it was 2 grades after his intervention strategies was put in place. So he was struggling to figure out how he was going to learn. And my other children were a little nervous, but I gave them the choice of whether or not they could, what they wanted to do, and they said that they would go to school and just pretty much see what would happen because they can't deny my children in-person instruction. So I dropped my children off at school, and they went in and they were escorted out of their classrooms and into the principal's office. And I'm not exactly sure why it was only my children, because I do know that there was other children in the school with medical exemptions and other religious exemptions that were not pulled out, and it was only my 3 children that were pulled out. I had emailed the superintendent, I had emailed Dr. Hart, and I asked for an explanation. I still haven't received an explanation on why my children were pulled out of their classrooms when the whole entire year everything was fine. And then why did they give me a day to decide? what changed, and no one will answer what changed. I've yet to hear what has changed on why my children's medical exemption is now void. I mean, my children's exemption is now void.
Are your children worried that no one will like them because they're not wearing a mask?
My children specifically weren't worried about that. They were more worried about what was going to happen to them. My one son was like, what if they were scared they were going to get in trouble by their teachers. And I had to reassure them that their teachers loved them, because I really do feel like my principal does. I think that this is coming from higher up, and the principals are having to take orders. And they were worried about that. They were worried they were going to get in trouble. They were worried. They were more actually worried about what their peers were going to think if their desk were moved or different things like that. And so I think that it is taking a toll on our children. And I don't feel like the school board cares. I don't think they care. They don't even care to respond to my email on why my children were excluded from being able to attend class with their peers. And when school ended, I had multiple messages from parents wondering why my children were pulled. So,
Thank you for sharing your
you're
story.
welcome. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Okay.
Say your name first and last for me and spell it out for me, please.
Yes, Tammy Trivett, TammyTribett.
And what town do you live in?
I live in Gainesville.
Gainesville. Your shirt says "Our kids, our choice, our voice." Why are you out here tonight at this school board meeting at almost 9 o'clock at night?
We're here because the school board here in Prince William County is trying to take away the rights of parents to make the choices for their kids. Our governor has issued an executive order now during this no longer pandemic that it should be up to the parents to make the choices for our kids' education, well-being, and health. And this school board is just basically saying, too bad, we're not going to give you guys the power you have, that you should have, to make the choices for your own children. So we're standing up for our rights.
I assume you have children in the school.
I do. I have a daughter at the high school level, one daughter in the high school level at Gainesville High School.
And what's her feeling? What does she tell you about having to wear masks?
Well, it's uncomfortable. The kids, they can't breathe. More importantly, they can't hear their teachers. They feel like they haven't heard anything their teachers have said for about the past year. It's making learning difficult. It's hard to breathe all day. It causes irritation on their face. They haven't seen their friends' faces in nearly 2 years. They haven't seen their teachers' faces. They can't read emotions. They can't read expressions. Just all in all, this is having a toll on our kids from a mental well-being, standpoint.